Hello, I'm back. Nope, here I am. Okay, cool. Let's do this again. Okay. Oh. So I had so much fun doing my Stanley Parable stream that I decided to just do another one. So this was totally unscheduled, unplanned. Just trying to have some fun here. Let's take a look. Okay, great. Okay, great. Everything seems to be functional. Cool. So, it is currently 10:13 p.m. I always put in the correct time. You don't have to. Though some funny things do happen later on. So, uh, hang on. Yeah. I should take the chance of that. I appreciate that. All right, so some funny things happen. Like each time you log in, you get some funny messages. So during my last stream, I decided to focus on just the original content. I didn't do any of the new content, and I just tried to do as many endings as I could remember from the original version that I played how many years ago. And I had a lot of fun with that stream, but then I was actually doing the new content, and I was having so much fun, I just thought, all right, you know what, I want to do this on stream. So I deleted my data to start over. So just so you know, you can go right here and delete your save data anytime you decide you want to like start over. There's also an achievement if you set every one of these values to every number on the scale, just so you know. So there's a trophy for doing that. And I'm going to turn on... Yeah, I'll turn on the subtitles so that people can see them. Oh, then you know what? Let me do this. Okay. Yeah, so there's all these different settings, and you get a trophy if you set each slider to each value. So, going to begin the game, and I'm going to go ahead and skip. Okay, so remember, this is, I deleted my save data, starting over, but the goal here is I want to do the new content and show you the bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
And then once you have the bucket, you can redo all the old endings, but now they're different, and it's funny. So, there's a trophy if you do this. Ready?
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy?
Yes.
Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Oh, the things I do for trophies.
Oh, Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Yeah, see, this is what's weird, see? Because look, 427, 428, 429, 430, and then it just skips a bunch of doors.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Yes, look, and then there's 26, 25. So there's a lot of missing doors, and then you can never get through to some of these other spots, I don't think. Oh, I forgot what he said. No. 415. Okay.
Now, back to door number 437.
And the last time I tried to do this, I screwed it up and went the wrong way to find the next target.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Where is the copy machine? Oh, right here.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
PC load letter? The fuck does that mean?
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
I love this game.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes!
I got the
We did
trophy!
it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today.
Okay. So... let's see.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Sometimes he makes
It
you
had
do
really
the
been
coffee
worth the detour after
maker
all.
instead of
But
the
eager
copier.
to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, he didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Yeah, see, after you get to the new content, they add something over there, but there's no way to get down there as far as I can tell.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good
Okay.
job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
So I need to get the bucket.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crew...
Yeah, this is another ending you can get. You just shut the door and stay in the room.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So I think you have to
When
just beat the
Stanley
game
came to a
the
set of
right
2
way
open doors,
once.
He entered the door on his left.
Yeah, so I think in order to
Yet
get the new
there was not
content,
a
you
single person
still have
there
to do
either. Feeling a
some
wave of
things.
disbelief,
No broom
Stanley
closet.
decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
There's also a trophy if you beat the game incredibly fast.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Yeah, so if you get through this as fast as humanly possible, there's a trophy. But I think... Alright, what I'm going to do now... Here. You gotta get him to skip that,
All of
otherwise
his
it doesn't
co-workers
happen.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So it looks like even if you
Yet
tell
there
the
was
game
not
that
a
you've
single
played it
person
before,
there
it still
either.
wants you to
Feeling a
do
wave of disbelief,
one of the
Stanley
main
decided
endings,
to
I
go
think.
up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
See? That's how you get this trophy for beating the game fast. You gotta... Yeah. So if you go... The first time you go really fast, he gets mad and starts, you know, playing New Age music. So then, as you saw, you reset,
Stanley realized he felt a
get there as fast as you
fear.
can, and then
It
this
was a
time he's like,
stirring
okay,
of
fine.
emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go
And see, the
unanswered
problem is
for
that
long.
once you clear the new content and get the bucket, it doesn't let you revisit that area, which is why I
Stanley
had
walked straight
to
ahead through the
restart my
large
save
door
file.
that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
So I'm also trying to get all the
What
trophies,
horrible
as you can
secret
tell.
did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
There's a trophy for not playing the game for 10 years, and you can easily cheat on that one and just push the system clock ahead
Now
10
the
years.
monsters jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of
But
an
there's another
employee in
trophy,
the building.
play for the
Stanley's
entirety of a
co-workers,
Tuesday.
the lives of so many individuals
You can cheese that
reduced
one a
to
little
images
bit,
on a
it's just it
screen.
doesn't have to be all on the
Stanley, one
same
of them,
Tuesday.
eternally
So you have to play a
monitoring
total
this
of
place
24
where
hours
freedom
across any
never
number
fell.
of Tuesdays. And I have not found a way to
This
cheat on
mind
that
control
one. I
facility,
tried
it was
manipulating
too
the system
horrible
clock
to
and
believe. It couldn't
didn't
be
matter.
true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire
Yeah, you have to beat the
life
game in under 4
utterly
minutes and 22
blind to
seconds.
the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to
And it doesn't
sink in,
count loading screens,
Stanley
thankfully.
decided-
Okay.
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been
I was just
freed
thinking how
from the
cool it would be
machine's grasp?
if,
What other
like,
mysteries did this
you could
strange
explore
soul
the
know?
Dunder Mifflin office.
As sunlight streamed into the
And
chamber,
either A, you
he
get to play as
realized none of
Stanley
this
from
mattered
that,
to him.
or
For
you
it
run
was
into
not
Stanley
knowledge
and there's a
or
whole
even
thing about it.
power
I know, I was
that
just
he
thinking
had
that would
been
have been funny.
seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that
Oh, and
was
the other thing
all
is you
he
can't
needed to know.
jump in
It
the
was
game, but if you
perhaps
keep mashing the X
only
button, you
thing
get a
worth
trophy.
knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility.
So I don't know
of the
when
new
the
path
trophy
before
pops,
him.
and I don't know if it's going to.
This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
It gets really bright for some reason. I'm also sitting really close to the TV. Okay, so no trophy. Oh well.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
But
Stanley
thankfully,
decided to
or
go to the
hopefully,
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
no? Okay, how do I unlock the new content? Where is it? No? Okay. Gotta keep playing. So I think you gotta go the other way.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes.
Boy, this is gonna be a
This
really boring
room.
stream if I just do
But he
everything
had
I
to
did in
get
the
back to
previous stream,
business.
huh?
Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So I'm remembering now that if you do the exact opposite of everything he tells you, you get an ending where it actually rolls credits. So it's probably what it wants me to do.
Nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
But hopefully if you were
neglecting,
struggling to
Stanley.
get the other
Someone you've
trophy, maybe
forgotten
now
about.
you know how to do it.
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for... This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
I
To
didn't...
reach out to her.
Okay.
If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh yeah, it's not letting me pick up the phone. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I didn't do this ending in the other stream, so... What? Oh yeah, he's in his apartment
Danny,
now.
is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving
What a
wife?
dick.
They want to commit their life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Jeez, now I'm getting depressed.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was...
Alright. You get the gist of it.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope. I'm going
Stanley
to
was so
unplug
bad
the
at
phone.
following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a
real person. Yes, I am.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not
It's
real.
not real.
Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less?
I
And finally,
chose to get
if
out
you
of
begin to
bed.
wonder
I
if your
chose
choices
what
are
to eat
actually
for
meaningful
breakfast. I
and whether
chose
you'll
to
ever
stream
make a
Stanley
significant
Parable.
contribution to the
I
world,
chose to practice
just
guitar.
remember that in the vast infiniteness of
I chose to
space,
go
your
outside.
thoughts
I
and
chose to
problems
check
are
the
materially
mail.
insignificant, and the
I
feeling should
chose
subside.
to take a
At this
shower.
time, your instructor
I chose to
will guide
brush
you
my
in an
teeth.
exercise to test and reinforce
That's
the
8.
material
Okay.
covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying.
Oh look, see there's
Imagine the main
see it down there?
dying senselessly halfway through the story.
There's a vent you can go
That story
into.
would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Yeah, so they put a chair right here, but it doesn't matter. You can't get onto it. Okay. So I think this is the true ending where you just don't do anything he tells you to do.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
No.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction.
It's
Perhaps you're not too
chaos.
late. Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why?
Marketing
For what?
Mondays, Termination
What did you get out of
Tuesdays,
that?
Work
What did you think
Wednesdays,
was so special about
Thursday
seeing the game
murders,
undone, left here like so much
pranking
garbage?
floors
Well,
meeting.
it's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever.
I am
Now
clever.
look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny?
It's
Just like to
hilarious.
see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground
I already
facility.
did it,
You
dummy.
would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
I want to go on the ceiling.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
All right.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might
see,
coming to a
now this
staircase.
is blocked.
Stanley walked upstairs
blocked
to his
off.
boss's office.
See, now it's forcing me to go upstairs, but something screwy is going to happen. Yep, see,
Stepping
it's different.
inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Night Shark 115. Nope. Stanley can't speak, remember?
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
No, he didn't.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right.
I did
You
go
could have
through the
done
door on the
whatever
right.
hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When
Okay.
Stanley came to a set of
There
two
it is.
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Roll credits.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay?
I think this is the true ending. I don't know.
I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through
It's
the door.
the bad ending, but it's also the
Are you
true
listening to
ending.
me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
Yeah.
Stanley,
The happy
this is
ending, that's
important.
not real.
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision.
But I did find another
The door
ending
exists
where
without
he
you. Do you understand?
escapes.
Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong.
Oh, that's
here.
what
We can
Stanley
work
looks
together.
like,
I'll
yeah.
accept whatever you do. I simply
That's what I'm saying. I want a mod where you
forward.
play as
Please
Stanley from The Office and the Dunder Mifflin office shows up.
do something.
That'd be funny.
Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it.
Or what if there was like a VR game where you just explore the Dunder Mifflin office? That'd be cool.
Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay.
It'd probably be very expensive to develop
I can wait.
and kind of
Time to decide.
late.
Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the
Oh.
best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Okay. Now what? Okay.
Stanley
now-
knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were.
Yeah,
Just a
okay.
matter of time.
So there you go. That's how you actually get the new content. It looks like you have to get that
Oh.
ending.
New content? What does that mean?
Alright,
New
cool.
content.
What time is it? Oh man, it took me half an hour just to unlock that from a fresh save file. Okay. But now you get to see it, and I could always delete the first 30 minutes when I send it over to YouTube anyways. And the chat should be showing up on my screen on the PS5 here.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Not really, though. It's not really a reimagining. I just had to do original content to get to the new content.
That broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
But when I did this by myself, I just knew I had to share it with people.
In the Stanley Parable Ultra
It's just
Deluxe.
so amazing.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
This is it. We're going to get the bucket. It's going to be great.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
And it's so great that they were able to get the original narrator to come back in and voice it again.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle?
When you stand in this circle, X makes you jump. But you can only do it 32 times. That's it.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator.
Another
Stanley,
elevator.
I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this
Pretty
is
much.
new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on
Sounds
the
like
level
something
of craftsmanship
Ubisoft
that's
would
gone
do,
into it.
right?
In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's
Or
trophies,
Activision
and it's hard to
Blizzard.
believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality
I
assurance
couldn't figure out how to get that trophy.
I'm
Yeah,
infuriated
I gotta
and
look
I'm
it up.
offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Okay. Yeah, see, look, now it's different.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay. I see, I don't know what happens if I go the other way. Oh well. But I gotta get the bucket, so whatever.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
Yeah, see, look.
Take a look.
I want to
call it
explore
the
this world.
memory
This looks
zone.
neat.
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Yep, so this is all the awards that the original game
You see,
won.
Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games
I didn't get
had
it when it
integrity.
first launched, but I think I
Back
got it on
then,
sale like
all
the
meant
following year
something.
or something.
Oh, the waste.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. But like, that's what I'm saying. I want to go over there, but you can't. Maybe they could make like an outdoor walking simulator game.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Person of the year, Stanley. Stanley. Here's another
Here's
positive
another
review.
moving passage, this
Yeah.
time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content.
Yeah, you know
All
that
they had to
tag
do
on
was
Steam that
transport
says
it in
choices
pristine
matter? Well, in this game they
condition along
do.
to the PlayStation, boom, done.
That's why
And
there's
they
like
couldn't
20
do that.
different endings.
Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
But then once you get the bucket, you can try to get all those same endings again, but now they're different.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait,
Now look where we are.
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
It's a
Oh,
wasteland.
No, God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine
It took me a
what's being
couple of
collected
minutes to
down here.
realize he's
Surely
talking
these
about
reviews were
Steam.
good as well, weren't they?
You see this and you're like, oh,
Honestly,
pressurized
I could not be
gas, I
bothered
get
to
it.
play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining.
I wrote an amazing
I'm
positive
trying to be
review.
funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of
Steam.
art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says.
Yeah, maybe I can post my old
While the
review
idea
to
of the
Blue
game's
Sky or
good,
something so people can see it.
For someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
Sometimes you are.
This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh, yes, we shall.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to.
Look, see, the plant died.
Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about...
Skip. Dead tree. No narrator.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a
So, yeah, you just got to keep doing it. I don't know what would happen if I quit out right now. I'm not going to, though.
The end is never the end, is never
never
the
the
end,
end, is never the end.
Never the end, is 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 never...
Pretty soon there's going to be a hole in the ceiling. You wait. What time is it? Doesn't matter. So the clock is stuck at 12:55 p.m. and 50 seconds. Or it could be a.m. Who knows? Look, it's the post-apocalypse. Look, now there's sunlight. And look, now nature is reclaiming the land. See? Right, so the narrator is not happy with the new content, so of course he shows you a secret area and then adds a skip button somehow, and here we are. So this is very similar to the ending of Portal 2, I noticed, so this is the other ending where he actually escapes the facility. But of course there's nowhere to go, and now it's the post-apocalypse and it's a dead planet. So you just keep walking until it ends. Okay. The end is never the end. Okay.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Look, see? New content!
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
This is funny. Ready? Yeah, it's too bad I couldn't just keep streaming the first time I did this, and I could have just done all this in one go. That's okay.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
He hates the new content so much that he starts working on a sequel.
Yes,
by himself.
Isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in
I like
so
this, like,
many
modernized
different
office.
directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
I never got to work in a cool office.
Calling it the Stanley Parable
I worked in a call
is
center that
so
just
much
had a
catchier
huge
than ultra-deluxe,
room
don't you
with
think?
open
Ultra-deluxe?
cubicles, and it was
What does it
fucking
even
terrible.
mean? But the Stanley Parable 2. Now
And then I
that's
worked in
an
a small
artistic
sales
statement
office that
right
had,
there.
like,
It's
the half
future-oriented. It screams
cubicles.
progress and innovation and
that job
long-term
sucked too.
franchising
But I always wanted to
potential.
work in, like, a nice
Now, to be
office,
clear,
you know?
I haven't quite nailed down what exactly
Or have
the
my
Stanley
own,
Parable 2
like,
is
closed
going
off
to be,
cubicle.
But let's take a look at some of the
Oh, well.
features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Well, alright. Let me do the thing that I wanted to do in the title. That would be a good idea, no? Oh, and I wanted to show you this too. This explains everything. As soon as I saw this book here, I'm like, oh. It's like, yeah, they definitely read that book, let me tell you. Oh yeah, hold on, I want to get the bucket. Where's the bucket? Oh yeah, well here's the thing, now the jump
You know
circle.
what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well.
Oh well.
I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Okay, yeah, let me go get the bucket. That's why we're here, isn't it?
A common complaint of the Stanley
So this is
Parable
how you get
was
the
that it was
bucket.
confusing and paradoxical. That it
And I
engendered
think there was like a
sense of
collector's edition you can get that
recklessness
came
in
with
those
a
who
bucket
played
and a
it.
Stanley
Well,
figure.
I'm happy to
But
say
of course,
that
you
after
know,
much
it was a limited run
consideration,
thing and you had to
I've
pre-order it
engineered
months in
a
advance. And it's like,
solution
well,
to
I
this
didn't know
fundamental
the
problem
significance of the
game.
bucket
It's the Stanley
prior to
Parable
playing the game.
Reassurance Bucket. You
So-
see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions...
I was
of
not going to
Stanley
spend
Parable
ridiculous
will feel
amounts of money on an
perfectly normal
overpriced
and
collector's
perhaps
edition
even comforting.
to get
You
a
may even
prop
come to
without
long
knowing
for the
its
gentle embrace
significance.
of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they?
Yes,
All this
I
and
love the
more
bucket.
awaits you in the Stanley Parable too.
Okay.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game?
Okay.
That really should.
So the
Okay, I'll
first
be
time I
honest,
did
haven't
this-
yet decided on this one.
Okay.
I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided.
Get well
on
someday.
Get well
Happy 12th
someday
birthday,
and
Stepniece.
Happy 12th birthday. Which would you go with?
So the last time I did this, I picked the left. Let's see what happens when I pick this one.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's
I
opinion,
figured.
it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday
So-
it is.
Whichever one you pick, he ends up doing the opposite. Got it.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Ah, here it is. So now I'm going to bring the bucket to the infinite hole, because that's what's in the title. That's what you came here to see, right?
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Nope.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
No.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and
great.
a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely?
Nobody.
I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're
Why?
the problem.
Somebody smoked a lot of cigarettes down here, huh?
Look, things got a little heated.
Or
there.
they
I
threw
think
'em in
we
there.
said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Yeah. So as far as I know, if you just sit down here forever, nothing happens.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven. I was right. The problem
The problem is you.
The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole.
I'm not a
It
normal
goes on forever
person.
till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really, gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in
Back
the
in the
hole.
hole.
If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily
less and less infinite.
I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
No. No. I want to stay in the hole forever. Forever. I will stay in this hole forever. Alright. Alright, so... see, look.
Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Alright, this is a little boring, but bear with me here. What is happening? Yes, I just had to delete my save file and start over so I could show this to the world. But me and my trusty bucket will get through this together.
сонсны skriver.
Look, puppies! Outer space. Puppies!
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Toodlepip must be a British phrase. Never heard that one before. Okay. Eventually, he helps us get out of the hole.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
And he acts like it didn't happen. Fine, it ended. Mostly infinite hole. I thought it would be really funny if I went there again, but no. That's it. So now I can no longer access the hole. Please no screenshots. I just took a screenshot and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, free trophy, really? Totally receive a new trophy, no more steps, it just works. Get yours right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Is it though?
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist.
I want a trophy.
The trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's go back.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Oh, yeah. Ready? They added collectibles.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Gotta catch them all. I'm sorry, I gotta collect them all.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Okay, so then there's this.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really
Too big,
want?
too small,
Of
just
course,
right.
The first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated
Yes,
as people.
I want to be validated
So with
as
that
a
in mind,
person.
my first addition to the game is this
I'm a human
button
being,
which
God damn
speaks
it.
the name
My
of
life
the
has
person
value.
playing the game. Isn't
I'm as
that
mad as hell, and I'm
wonderful?
not going to take it anymore.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now,
That's not my
the button
name.
only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim.
Jim.
All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Jim.
See, if you'd
Jim.
only played
Jim.
along, that would have been
Jim.
your name
Jim.
the button
Jim.
says. But
Jim.
no.
Jim.
Instead,
Jim.
oh,
Jim.
I
Jim.
can't even
Jim.
think about
Jim.
it. I'm
Jim.
taking the Jim
Jim.
button away.
Jim.
I just love how it just sinks into the floor. Right, it clips right through the floor. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Still got time.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They
Fair
would
enough.
appreciate what I've created here. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
And then I'm gonna go up here, and then I think that's everything. Settings world champion, so yeah, it's fine. So I think I did it right. I did the jump circle. Did not give me the free trophy. Button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Merch. Yeah. Office decorate. Yeah, okay. So remember, I picked one of those balloons. I got the bucket. Let's get the hell out of here.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yes.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful
See,
gameplay
what I would
experience.
want in a sequel is just
Okay.
a bigger office to
Are you
explore
ready?
with more endings,
Here it
that's all.
is.
And
I
more
give
delightful
you
narration.
The Stanley Parable.
It's not that
2.
complicated.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it.
Tastefully, of course.
With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
See? Now you get a new title screen. So if I didn't delete my save file and start over, then you would have seen this and not understood, and then it wouldn't have let me go to that whole area. You would have never seen the whole.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company
See,
in
look,
a big
now there's
building
balloons.
where he was employed.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
See? There it is.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Okay. See, yeah, and now look, see? It's not there anymore, so this is it. You do that area once, as far as I'm aware, and it adds the balloons and it adds the bucket. But while you're holding the bucket, you can do the same endings again, but now they're different endings.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
No, he
This
didn't.
was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley
Stanley
had felt the bucket
see,
calling to him.
it
telling him
changes.
that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful.
So
the
now I've
bucket
got
turned
half an
out to
hour
be.
to try to get as many endings as I can
Never
with
mind.
the bucket.
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Now look, this is new, see?
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to
You can't buy
savor
happiness,
each and
but
every moment
you can buy
come
things
across
that
one
make
of
you
these
forget that you're
beautiful
not happy.
figurines.
Yeah, so as far as I'm aware, there's no safe way to drop down there to try to go out through that door. At least I don't think there is. I'd have to look it up. So, but they added this little bridge here as part of the new content. And even though I could clearly see this vent before, there was no discernible way to get down here. What the fuck?
Okay, this is day number 2.
Is that Stanley's voice? Or is it somebody else?
I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling.
Oh man, I remember tape recorders. They were great.
And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still.
Boy, that takes me back. When I was a kid, I had a bunch of cassette
I
tapes.
see the world so
So I don't think I got my first CD until I was like 12.
Everything feels
Yeah.
so. What do I do with this treasure?
Well, that's what we had. We had it was a radio, and it had 2 tape slots.
It's unthinkable.
And so what you could do is put in a blank tape and just record the radio, or you could put in a regular tape
with the bucket
and a blank one and then make copies that way.
This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back.
Yeah, so CDs
I don't know who might be
weren't really widely available until I was a little bit older.
Who's that?
And then they were pricey. I paid 20, 25, 30 bucks for some of the CDs that I bought. And of course we had VHS tapes to watch movies, and I didn't start collecting DVDs till I was 17. And now DVDs look like ass to me. Now I just want Blu-rays. Now my eyesight is shot, so I need sharper resolution. Maybe that's the truth behind, you know, increases in resolution. From watching all these screens, it makes our eyes weaker, and then we need the higher resolution. Maybe. I don't know.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
What? I've never gotten that dialogue before.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left.
So let's see how many more endings I can get in the next 24 minutes, and then I gotta stop.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket. Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices?
What?
That's true.
I never
You can
thought
fall
to
on a
do
bucket
that.
from literally any height and survive.
I never thought to get on the
I'm
lift
serious,
and then
Stanley.
immediately
Jump,
get off.
Jump with the bucket. I promise you'll live. I extra double promise that you can land on the bucket and not die. Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Wait a minute. What if I do that without the bucket? I don't know if I
Even
ever...
now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Hold on.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I never tried to do that without the
lounge
bucket
was
before,
grand,
so...
majestic. Perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, he didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it. Whoops. Looks like I was wrong.
Alright, it's kind
How
of
clumsy of me.
basically the same. Okay. So, what happens if I go in
Stanley
that
knew the office
vent
layout like
without
back of
the
his hand.
bucket?
It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
So now I have
And
to go
here it
in the
was,
vent.
the lounge. But eager
Without
to
the
get back
bucket.
to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Okay. Is this any different without the bucket?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Oh! Sorry, folks, it's really bright, but
Yes,
what happens?
Whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
we've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications
What?
of... Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it.
What?
You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, you would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
What the fuck?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided
So
to go
in
to the
some
meeting room.
endings,
Perhaps he
when
had
you
something else to
restart, the
remember.
door doesn't close behind you, and you can bring the bucket in there with you, but I haven't figured those out yet.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind.
The bucket was wrong.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, he didn't. Look, and
No,
that's
said
kind of
the
a
bucket.
bucket,
Don't
but you
go
can't
to
pick
the
it up.
meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course.
This bucket
because
is
buckets
evil, we
can't
know
talk.
now.
But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Except he didn't. See,
No,
like,
stop. Up there on the wall.
No buckets
There's a
past
sign
this
right
point.
there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
oh.
What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game
Oh,
if not
man.
addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
What's a bucket? Is this a bucket?
I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect.
No,
It is a
it's-
hologram of a bucket.
Jerk.
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket.
Same difference.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth.
I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Oh, that's not a bucket. Jeez. I think you're just wrong no matter what you do.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
No.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
It is and isn't a bucket. What is a Schrodinger's bucket? A quantum bucket?
Wait, hold on, I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight,
There is
Stanley.
no bucket.
Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley,
Yes.
I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our
I am the
relationship
son of
apart.
Charlie
I
Bucket. You
can't
may
have
call
that.
me
I'm sorry.
Stanley Bucket.
But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No!
Okay, here we go.
You can't take my bucket away. The hell, dude?
Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear?
Everything's a bucket!
Was everything a bucket?
Oh no!
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful.
You can call me
news.
Buckethead.
We're
I'm a good
buckets.
guitar player.
Yes,
Huh?
I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game.
Yeah,
So, tell you
stupid
what,
watch.
I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go. How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen? Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the... And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Trust the completionist instinct. There will be a reward for finding them all. Retrieve Chris's remains from the warehouse floor. I thought he was the guy who was stuck in the closet. He came out of the closet and then he died? Well, that sucks. I think looks a bit a large room, lots of boxes. Oh wow. I got some of them already. I want to go home. Who are you? How can we find them?
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of
What?
jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies.
What?
Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket.
What?
This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends?
How
That your
dare you?
relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your
That's
life
not
is
true.
so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing
No,
manner?
I love
Well,
the
I'd
bucket.
never.
He's my best friend.
Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings. for
Yeah, the
as they
bucket's
have
my best
changed
friend.
and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
I'm gonna teabag
Okay,
the
I've got
closet.
you something which I think will help settle this debate.
I will
once
teabag
and
you,
for
you
all. Here we
freaking
go.
closet.
There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
This is Stanley's bucket now.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is
I
a
absolutely
bucket or
would
not,
have
you can look
overpaid on
down
that
at this
collector's
sticker and
edition
say
if
to
I
yourself,
understood the significance of the
"Oh,
bucket
it's a bucket."
prior to the game
There
releasing.
really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
But how did he get this sticker on there so perfectly over the ridges?
Name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Guess what? I already knew about this one.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
To be rich, is it a crime? Crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Yeah, why are so many rich people criminals? It's like they had to become criminals to be able to get all that money, right? You gotta be a sociopath to succeed in this capitalist economy, right? Oh, and there's nothing in the elevator, I already checked. Let's see. I am gonna find the rest of those figurines.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotion, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
No.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
No, the bucket's
Farewell,
amazing.
Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
That's not what happened.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest.
Wow.
It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Oh, I lost the bucket. Oh no. Welcomes you to the grand exhibit.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be?
There's only before from exposure to this many buckets. There's definitely more than 25 there, though, right? Way more than 25. Huh. That's a wooden bucket. Oh, inferno bucket. Drove down some nations to wherever the control. Billions died, and yet in spite of it, all the simple vagaries, no one can control a bucket. What? What? We know that buckets predate the existence of He used to having touched humanity be worthy of its treasure.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
There is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. Oh. What?
There is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him crash like a machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Oh, look, the stickers are still there.
Good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another
Another thrilling adventure together.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
So for the first time ever, I entered the door on the left. But see, going the other way and then coming through here anyways did not make a difference.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's
No,
office.
they did not. Oh!
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little
Nice.
Stanley figurines. And now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1?
Oh, you can't see it because of my face.
I'm sure it will come to me.
That's right. So now
But
you
Stanley just
know
couldn't do it.
how
He
to play the
considered
game and where
possibility of
things
facing his
are.
boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said
nothing at all. For a second I thought this ending was going to be
Using the
identical.
bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket.
What?
Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground.
So that's what you do.
Gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it?
First you
I
play
must
through the
find
game
it.
normally.
Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley,
Then
Stanley,
you get
it's
the
me,
bucket, and then
the
you
bucket.
do the same things again, but now it's
He
different.
rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next.
Oh my
None
God.
of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Buckets everywhere, holy crap!
Stanley, find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Jeez.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket
with him.
Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass.
My
And
life
she
kicks
backflipped
ass.
all the way to work.
Backflip to work. What the fuck?
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Okay. Alright, I have to stop playing. Yeah, it's 12:08. I have to get ready for bed. It's getting very late. And I gotta get up tomorrow and do stuff. Alright. Well, thanks to anybody who tuned in, and of course, past streams will make their way to YouTube usually, so check that out. And
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfect. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Hang on.
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge...
Well, I don't
was
want to
simply
spoil
the place to
everything,
be.
right?
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was
So
this
you can
better than
already
the
think
meeting
of
room? Yes, Stanley thought to
4
himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
endings that you
How
haven't seen with
insightful
the bucket yet,
turned
so
out to be.
I don't want to spoil everything for you. Alright. So this is a good stopping point, and then I will try to discover the rest of the endings by myself, and we'll try to get the rest of the trophies by
Truly,
myself.
being here with the bucket was a grand adventure.
So this
Stanley
seems like a good
reflected on
stopping point for
all
the
they'd
stream,
been
and
through
that way I
together.
can go to bed.
First,
Okay.
walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving
All right.
at the lounge. What a
See
thrilling
ya.
journey the bucket had inspired.